Welcome to today's session on Banksman. Today our learning objectives are going to be understanding why a Banksman is required when manoeuvring a vehicle on Wayfair property, explain what the responsibilities of a Banksman are, and then how to conduct the duties of a Banksman. This will include hand signals and the use of hand signals and verbal commands while you're commanding a vehicle. First and foremost, I'd like to go around the room, ask you to introduce yourself, and then just tell me a little bit about your experience of using Banksman duties before. So, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Dimitar.
And have you been Banksman before?
Yeah.
What have you done? Just general?
I don't remember now.
Okay, alright. Yourself?
I'm Marina and I've not had any experience.
No experience whatsoever. Yourself?
I'm Stephen and I've had quite a bit of experience because I was a speedway racer, so going around the country with all my teammates with vans and stuff, I've had to help people get out of junctions or situations to help them back up their vans which they can't see right.
Okay.
So I've had a fair bit.
Yourself?
My name is Elias. I have to help with my wife just parking because she can't reverse it. So.
Okay, yeah, get that. Yourself?
My name is Chris.
Have you got any Banksman experience?
Yeah.
Just normally in work, or have you done it privately, personally?
Privat.
Private.
Okay. Yourself?
I'm really help.
Okay.
Sometimes I direct the van when there's no camera on the back.
All right, perfect. Yeah.
That's it.
I'm Vasil. I have personal experience, not at work, but usually I help some friends to park or.
So you've all been delivery guys, though, haven't you? You've all done deliveries before, haven't you? Most of you. I know you haven't, but the rest of you have, haven't you? And you've never done Banksman at work or like Amazon?
Not in
or?
general.
Not in general. Okay.
Yes, usually in Amazon they put what is the Banksman, but
Okay. One of the big things that I feel is really important is when you're like manoeuvring on Wayfair, we always want you to have a Banksman. But when you also you're out on the streets, say in a very tight area, and you can just get the Banksman out to then get you reversed into a really tight spot so you can make the delivery. Really important to make sure that the Banksman can get involved in that activity rather than you trying to reverse in when you got low visibility. So some housekeeping. Fire alarm is a two-tone sound. I'm the fire marshal here anyway, so if you do hear that sound, I will usher us all out. We'll go to the emergency evacuation location. Toilets. Female toilets is just here on the left, and male toilets is just beyond that on the other side. If you do go out to the male toilets, just make sure you've got your high vis and your safety boots on because it's in the warehouse. Mobile phones, please put your mobile phones on silent, and if you do need to take any phone calls, please just leave the room to take them. And smoking, there's a smoking area outside. We won't take a smoking break until after the session, but you'll be able to go out and have a cigarette then. Right, so why do we need a Banksman? 1 in every 5 accidents in the UK is attributed to not having a Banksman, and that is deaths. That is deaths. People dying as a result of not having Banksman. 1 in 5. That's 20 deaths per year just on Banksman itself. Okay. We have other contributing factors. When you go down to accidents that are just injuries, you're talking 1 in 50. But the amount that are actually killed because of lack of Banksman is very, very high, and that's where we've got to really try and stop that from happening, because ultimately we don't want to be turning up for work and then not being able to go home just because someone didn't get Banksman in. And that's all part of your job. You've got to be able to say when you're working in the Wayfair. On here, I've just shown a little slide on your blind spots. Now this is a van, this is a normal van. As you can see, the blind spot right at the front of your vehicle, right? Because you can't see over the top of your bonnet, below the bonnet point. You've got a blind spot from your mirrors, both sides, and then rear as well. Okay, And this is where your banksman comes into hand. Normally a banksman would stand and position themselves around this position here, so they can see these areas that you can't, and provide you with the understanding, knowledge of what's happening around you while you're manoeuvring your vehicle. When you're looking at it from the front, you can start seeing how much of a banksman issue can be important, because you can't see these areas yet. What happens here? These are bikers, normally, aren't they? That's what's going to be in that area there. Someone on a bike, someone that's going to be involved, maybe even holding on to your vehicle as you are manoeuvring itself. So while you're using banksman, while you're doing a banksman, you must wear the correct PPE. So high vis and safety boots is imperative. We do not go onto the warehouse without those two items anyway. You always wear your high vis and your safety boots. As a banksman, you are the eyes and ears of the driver. You don't take responsibility away from the driver is still in charge of the vehicle. However, you're advising the driver the best way to manoeuvre and the safe way. If you see a pedestrian coming towards a vehicle, stop the vehicle, either allow the pedestrian to move or stop the pedestrian and allow the vehicle to move. You've got to keep control. Control is the most important thing. We must always make sure that the driver is aware of what's happening. So communication, both visually, verbally, is always conducted all the time. Communicating with the driver, we're going to be using both hand signals and voice. One of the most important things is making sure you know which is the left and right. If you're behind the vehicle, reversing it towards you, it's absolutely fine because your right and their left, your left and right are exactly the same. But if you're facing onto the vehicle in front of it, opposite is true. So if you're saying turn left and you're going, it's meant to be right. So you've got to realise which side is left and right. Also, a really good point, and in fact I'll come to that in a minute, tell the driver he must turn the radio off. Take the earphone out, make sure his mobile phone's not in his hand. His concentration is directly on you all the time. What he has to be able to do is look at you either through the mirror or through the windscreen, and you should see eyes on each other. That's where your concentration is, to make sure that their concentration is on you directly. What I don't want is people turn their back, come on this way, because that's when accidents happen there, because you're no longer looking. You might as well not be banksman if you turned your back and you pushed them on, because you don't know what's going on behind you, which is the back of the vehicle. If at any time the driver cannot see you, you must stop the vehicle immediately. The vehicle must stop. What we try to do on here is show you the best position to be a banksman. Because if I'm behind your vehicle outside and I'm going, you can't see my arm, and therefore there's no point in me being banksman. So I've got to stand to a position that will give the driver the best opportunity to see what I'm doing. We have some legislation that works alongside this. Workplace Regulation 992. RIDO, obviously we just talked about accidents are happening. And all the signs that I'm going to give you today are part of the Health and Safety Regulations 996, okay? So they are not just bespoke to this place, they are countrywide, UK-wide. So if you use these hand signals, every person should be able to understand you. On positioning, make sure that you can be seen at all times, and that you must be able to see both arms, and that you don't put yourself in a position like this guy here. He's put himself into a pinch place. The guy drops off the clutch, he's going to drop forward, and he can crush you between the two vehicles. So what he has to do is he has to have an escape route. A bit like when we were talking about driving earlier, we always have the escape route. We buy ourselves time and space, don't we? Same scenario when you're a banks person. So if you see there's an opportunity to get crushed, stop the vehicle, get yourself out of that position, and recommence the activity, the movement. So, a couple of questions. I'm going to ask them at random. So, why is a banksman important?
What?
Why is a banksman important?
First, because he can help a driver parking safety, but because it's health and safety, of course.
Yeah.
And it's like another second eyes for a driver.
Perfect. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, we're trying to keep people safe, aren't we?
Yeah.
So we're preventing damage, we're preventing injury, that sort of thing. And it also provides the driver with an understanding of what's happening around the vehicle. Perfect. Thank you. What is the personal protective equipment needed to conduct the duties of a banksman?
Quite nice.
Yeah, and?
So safety shoes.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And list the things a driver should do to effectively communicate with the banksman.
Keep eye contact with the banksman.
Okay, yeah. Anything else?
Contact, speaking.
Yeah, verbal communication, perfect. You can also take the earphones out
Yeah,
and,
radio off.
turn the radio
Yeah.
off, put the window
Window
down.
Yeah.
Perfect, that's absolutely perfect. Thank you. Right, so we're going to do some hand signals.
Stop.
Nice big hand. I'm taking it away from my body and it's up in the air. Because sometimes you're not just signalling to the driver, you're signalling to everybody around you so they know what's going to be happening. It's a bit like having an indicator, isn't it? If you're a BMW driver, you don't need to bother with indicators. But we're going to try and tell everyone what's going on around us. So big hand, stop. Right? Bringing the vehicle towards you. Okay? So generally, this is when you're behind the vehicle and you're bringing the vehicle towards you. And your arms are outstretched, bend at the elbow, hands coming forward. Really good tip here. If you're using gloves, I can distinguish what side my hand is by having these two-tone gloves. So if I'm bringing a vehicle towards me, see the red.
Red.
If I'm pushing you away,
Black.
you see the black. It's really good to have two-tone gloves. I know they're useful for manual handling, but these are really good for using for banksman. Yours are pretty good because you've got reflective. You've got reflective on the back, so I can clearly see which way my hand's going. Because if you're behind the vehicle, very difficult to be able to see which one's going where. Moving forward, push them away. That's what you do. Push them away. Get away from me. All right. Drive right. Now, if I wanted to get them to turn faster, not drive faster, I'd do that. And they turn it faster. Just turn my hand like that.
I used to kind of circle it that way.
Okay, yeah. You could do that. Yeah, you could do it. As long as you actually speak to the driver and tell them what communication, what hand signals you can do, that would work. Same for left. Put it out left. Now I normally put my hand forward as well, so then it's a bigger surface area, so you can see the hand, and then you can just do that maneuver. Horizontal distance. This is when verbal commands come in. So it's really hard to show how big 6 foot is, because your arms won't reach that far. But I can verbalise 6 foot, and I can say 5 foot, 4 foot, 3 foot, 2 foot, slow down, 1 foot, stop. Perfect. I've communicated that instead of having to go like that. And a lot of people will go very, very quickly. You're like, oh God, I'm going to stop really quick. So just trying to control that with verbal commands is much better. Emergency stop. Now this has to be clear. Both hands in the air. Stop! Everyone hears it. Everyone stops. Everyone's thoughts go, what's going on there? Automatically, everyone's knowing what's going on. Okay? Because this is life and death now. Somebody's in danger. Something's going to happen if you don't stop it. Really important. All right. So some hand signal practice. Could you give me the hand signal for stand up?
No.
Come on, stand up and give me the hand signal for turning left.
Oh. Thanks.
Perfect. Can you stand up and give me the hand signal for turning right?
To the right.
Right. Okay. Emergency stop.
Just stop!
Perfect. Okay. Can you get up and just show me a stop?
Just stop.
Normal stop, yes. Perfect. That is great. Thank you very much for that. Good practice. Right, watch this short video.
Your primary responsibility as banksman is to ensure your own safety and the safety of other pedestrians using the site where reversing is taking place. Only act as a banksman once you've had the correct training. Staff should familiarise themselves with all site safety procedures. Always wear the correct PPE on site at all times. Identify yourself as the banksman before you begin and agree signals. Use only the 6 correct agreed banksman signals at all times. Only use one banksman signal at a time. Identify all risks and eliminate all hazards before beginning your journey. Always position yourself where the driver can see you at all times. Stop the vehicle immediately if you lose sight of your banksman. If you are unhappy with a command from a banksman, stop the vehicle, get out, and visually check yourself. If you need to change sides, give the signal for the driver to stop the vehicle, move to the other side, and then signal to start again. Before reversing, check the area is clear of pedestrians or equipment and warn nearby pedestrians of your intended move. When a vehicle is reversing, always make sure you give yourself enough room. Never position yourself between the rear of the vehicle and fixed or stationary objects. If a mistake is made, stop the vehicle, assess the situation, and restart correctly. Do not rush. Look out for overhead or ground obstructions and excavations. Road traffic always has priority at all times. Never reverse a vehicle out of a site exit.
So very simple rules there that we've just talked about on being a banksman. It's a short assessment here, so if you can just get your phones out and scan that QR code.
Because what I'm fast at the moment.
A bit faster there, mate.
I'm not feeling it, eh?
You did okay.
Wszystko masz pierwsze. Co? Masz pierwsze. Raczej moje zdanie takie jest. Mimo, że szerzył połowę, także
Again, once you've completed the quiz, just write the score into the Banksman test part on your sheet of paper. Okay. I think it's out of 7 as well. Okay, what's this one? Done? What did you score, did you get?
7 or 8.
Okay. It's out 8, is it? Sorry, I
Yeah.
apologise. Okay, good. Perfect. Okay, perfect bandsman.
Co tam?
See, that? Is that going to go before you go?
Nie
Maybe
wiem.
that doesn't.
That's the last one that we're going to do on the no. So physical assessment. If you go,
7 to 8.
well done.
Why
Congratulations.
7?
Why 7?
Tak jest pierwsza, bo tu nie masz po kolei.
Aha, to ja nie wiem.
Nie wiem, ci po prostu. 8.
Oh, look at that.
7 out of 8.
Top scorers. Top scorer.
7.
Pierwszy.
Wow, what have you got?
Jeden?
No.
Środkowy.
Yeah.
Dobra. Trzeci.
Why I put this?
I don't know why you did that either. I'm not sure.
I'm also not sure.
Well done.
I get right.
Okay.
It's quite easy. Quite
Yeah, it's not hard.
7 out of 8.
A drugi.
You haven't answered that one.
7 out of 8. I would
Me
have
too.
on mine one. You already done it, haven't you?
Po drugim ostatnim.
Should have been.
Oh, that's the one I got down now.
That's the one.
Grzesiu, ty zrobiłeś wszystkie?
No, I was just showing the one I
Oh
got.
no, the buffets got the exact same one.
The one I got.
Oh, right, did you?
Aye.
Ostatni.
Pierwszy.
What'd you get? 8 out of 8. Look at that. Top scorers.
Pomóż tego wysiągnąć.
Tyle masz.
Okej, piąte? Nie, to jest.
Czekaj.
Piątym pierwszy.
Hmm?
Piątym pierwszy.
5. Okay.
Pierwsza zaznaczy.
Czekaj. Tam wiesz.
Nie ma czasu, Grzesiu, bo
Kurwa, że ja skumię, że już mam
Nie
problem.
stresuj mnie.
Chuj serusami.
już proszę mówię, za 15 jest już sztuka. A jeszcze jest jedno rozwiązanie.
You got your score?
Wszystkie.
What'd you get? 8 out of 8. Well done. Congratulations. So what I've done is I've just done a simple handout of hand signals. So you can put them in your vehicle and keep them if you wish. It just helps you out, guys and girls, understanding hand signals if necessary. Okay. So what we've done today is we've understood why a banksman is required when manoeuvring the vehicle. You okay? What is the responsibilities of a banksman and how to conduct these duties? Everyone happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. We'll move on to our next session, which will be a physical session on banksman later. Okay?